C, discussion of animal control. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've written a speech and came preaching tonight, you all. We have had an animal shelter for decades. The shelter may be not a state of art, but it was good enough for us to purchase a water heater costing $1,853 last year. We have had a heater installed, $1,290 in 2010. The animal shelter can be remodeled. The animal shelter served the purpose of housing animals until they were picked up by their owners or adopted out. Now we no longer have a shelter. Our control officer has been told to pick up animals and take them directly to Hawkins County Animal Shelter. This does not give our citizens an opportunity to pick up their animals in their own hometown. We, among other towns, are now imposing on a shelter already with too many animals, not enough funds, and a poor building themselves. God bless those people. May He strengthen their hearts and their spirits for what they do. If the Hawkins County Shelter is unable to take the animals, what happens to them then? Are they allowed to roam free with no care for their well-being? We did have a shelter that provided food, water, and safety, and human companionship. Medical care was provided by citizens out of their pocket. A service to be proud of has been removed. I find this appalling. I feel anger and I am sad.
Any more discussion?
Animal control isn't a board issue. It's up to the police chief and Mike Calshot. And really, they know what's best, what works for their budget in regards on how they, right? I mean, we don't have a say-so in what you guys do in regards to the animal control. That's up to you guys, right?
Well, on staffing levels, things of that nature. Now, the issue that we face is the facility. The facility is substandard. It is unsafe. Now, it seems that's how we wound up with the Humane Society partnership. Now, if you all desire to rebuild the facility, then that's fine. But I cannot in good conscience keep people and animals in that facility. Now, just because it has been functional to date doesn't mean that it was ever safe. As a matter of fact, the moment that it was constructed, it was substandard. So, if the board wishes to rebuild a shelter, then that's what we can do. But it's a matter of whether you all want to operate a shelter.
And I'll let the speak on operating the shelter. We're looking at something that I really think we're losing sight of. 62 animals was the total animal count for 2020. With an expense of $66,000 for animal control, that's $1,064 an animal that comes through the door that we're expenditure. There's cheaper ways that the animals can still be taken care of, but reduce the expenditure of that much money. I mean, we've got to do the best with what we have to work with, and the amount of money that we're spending on animal control is just too much. And if that's where we empower our city manager and department heads with the budget that we set. So before we look at anything else with animal control, I think we need to first decide how much money as a town we're willing to spend on animal control, because $66,000 is not the best expenditure of money in my opinion. So that I'd like to make the motion that we table any animal control discussion for the workshop, for the budget workshop for next year.
Well,
So
before we do that,
I'm sorry, yeah.
Whoever passed this,
I did.
can
I'll
you discuss
withdraw that
this or
motion
something,
then.
whatever?
Yeah, I called other towns around our community, from Greenville, all as Elizabeth, and everything was about 7 of them, and none of them has a full-time animal control officer, and none of them has a shelter. Every one of them sends them somewhere else, either with the county or most times to the county, and or have a partnership with the county there. But Mount Carmel is the only one that has a full-time animal control person. And everybody's having a problem with this, they said. Every city's having a problem with animals right now. And they're trying to figure out the best way to take care of themselves. But as a town, around this area, we spend more money than any town around here on animal control.
I would like to have a breakdown of the cost, just not a lump sum.
A lot of them just give donations to the county, or a lot of them got a partnership with the county.
No, I mean, what, when it said that we are spending, you said 66,000, John?
Yes, that's what I was
I would
told by the
well,
chief.
I would like to have a list of the cost of the food, because used to, a lot of people donated food to the animal shelter. We, at one point, at Hawkins County Gas, collected food for the animals. We have had an animal shelter for years. What is the problem now?
The shelter
Nope.
isn't safe.
We had a
They've used
estimator
it for how
bid
long?
on a
How long?
cost
Stephen,
repair on that. Did we ever get a breakdown how much of that was demolition and,
No.
we discussed that the last meeting.
Well, I was told that, I'm gonna say you, that the building, the wing, this side over here, was in need of repair in 2019. There ain't been nothing done to it. If you don't wanna do the maintenance, everything's gonna fall apart.
It's not maintenance, it's repair.
Well, in either case, I can take Steve up there and fix it. In 2 days, we can fix that. But the
I
thing,
think that approach is how we got here.
well, I'm not in favor of outsourcing work. I'm not in favor of giving up dog pounds.
Well, I would encourage you to address the board, not me.
Well, I'm just telling you what you was notified of in 2019, you was told that.
I think maybe we need to have a public hearing on this at the next meeting to see what the public, how they feel, get their input on it. I mean,
Is that a motion, Steve?
that has to be in the vote motion. I mean, John wanted to table it to workshop,
but
but
I think that
I
we
mean,
need
I'd
to
agree with
talk
that,
about
but
it
I'd
at the
still like to have a
workshop.
public hearing. Let the public voice their opinion, because this is a service to them. I mean, I have a lot of animals myself, and if we enforce our animal control policy, that number of, what was it, John, 62 animals?
Yep.
Would probably go to 620 if we enforced what we had on the books to do. And I'd hate to see a lot of citizens have to drive to Rogersville to go pick them up when we're paying our animal control officer to take them down there. But I would like to hear input from the
We pass
public
them.
themselves.
Please send letters, notes, make phone calls to us, leave text messages. I do not look at email. I look at one of those things all day. I do not look at it when I go home. But I would welcome some kind of contact from you all.
Any other discussion
Do we have a motion on the floor?
to,
For
what?
public,
Put
for a
the-
public hearing, I think Steve made a motion for a public hearing.
I didn't hear that. What was that?
Steve made a motion to have a public hearing about this.
I'll second that.
At our next board meeting, the next meeting.
You mean, our planning meeting or a board meeting?
No, he means it.
What do you mean?
At the
Board
next
meeting.
board meeting.
Okay.
So the people would come and use their visitor comments to talk. Pretty much is what they
I
would.
mean, you'd open it up just like you did on those first two items. You would have a,
So we need to vote on the motion? We got a motion and a second, we need to vote.
Yeah, we need a second. Well, did we get a second?
Yeah, Jen said.
Okay. We'll vote.
You can call all
Roll
in
call.
favor. Okay. Mindy Fleshauer,
Yeah.
John Gibson,
Yes.
Jim Gill,
This is for the meeting, right?
this is for the,
Yes.
Alderman Stephen McLean,
Yes.
Alderman Darby Patrick,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Teresa Moss,
Yes.
Mayor Pat Stewart.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And while we're still on the subject of animal control, Chief, is that some type of breakdown? Can we get some historical numbers on that so we can look at year over year? Because it's hard to make decisions based off just looking at 1 year's worth of numbers. I think if we're gonna really break how much the funding and how much animals we're spending per animal, which
I don't
just for,
think he's,
Hey, Chief?
you're gonna have to say that.
sorry, Chief. For the animal control, since we're gonna have a public hearing on that next meeting, can we get a little bit more historical data on that, some breakdown as much as we have? I know there hasn't been good records kept for year over year.
I'll give you everything I got, I'll work with Sherry,
Okay.
she's got her office, and we'll compile everything we got.
Okay.
Okay.